So, dushta ashvaiva, like horses that are not controlled. So, each horse is going anywhere, any direction it wants. And if that is the kind of chariot you have, then you are really having a problem. So, essentially what implication is, you have to educate the intellect. You can call Sunil. Is working?
Coming now.
Okay.
You have to redo it.
Oh, you have to redo it.
No, you have to reload after the class.
Okay. So, so it just started, right? So, the sloka essentially tells us if it is not under control, if the buddhi is not being driven by the proper process and the mind is not under control, it is like essentially horses that are not controlled and the chariot is being pulled by whatever the direction the horses want to go. And in contrast to that, what happens to the buddhi which is educated and wants to attend Vedantic classes? That's what it is. Yastu vijnanavan bhavati, yastu vijnanavan bhavati, yuktena manasa sada, tena manasa sada, tasyendriyani vasyani, syendriyani vasyani, sadashva iva sarathe, sadashva iva sarathe. Together, yastu vijnanavan bhavati, yuktena manasa sada, yasyendriyani vasyani sadashva iva sarathe. So essentially opposite to previous sloka. There yastu avijñāvan bhavati. Here yastu vijñānavan bhavati. Where the one whose intellect is, vijñāna means he is well educated. Vijñānavan. The one who knows what is right and what is wrong, what is shreyas and what is preyas, and what need to be done, what is the purpose of life, and what is the goal of life itself, and all that he knows. So what is the goal of life? A person with an 80-year-old asks question, then what do you tell? Sorry, too late. So a person who has to ask before entering into the life, he should know what is the goal of life so that you can charter, you can take the proper roads. So, yastu vijñānavan bhavati, the one who has inclination to study and who has studied the process and therefore who has the discipline, viveka, that's what essentially being characterized. So one who has the viveka, that means who has able to discriminate what is real and what is unreal, nitya anitya vastu vivekam, yastu vijnana bhavanti, who has gained that knowledge, yuktena manasa sada, and properly controlling the mind under his control. So even though I am educated, the mind can be so powerful, it can drag you along. So mind has to be disciplined. So before you go into that Vedantic study, there is a sadhana where the preparation of the mind is recommended through karma yoga, upasana, and bhakti yoga, etc. So those are the yogas are trying to make the mind clean and pure, and that's what yuktena manasa sadham. Tasya indriyani vasyani. For him, the indriyas are under control. Indriyas are the horses. So horses are under control. So sadashva iva sarathehi. Just like the good is disciplined horses are under control of sarathe. In the chariot, you control horses so you can take in whatever direction you want. And whatever direction you want, there is vijñānavan. So he is used the buddhi, the owner has used the buddhi to get educated in terms of what are the pros and cons of each and knows what need to do. So this is essentially emphasized here, yuktena manasa sada. So not only the mind is controlled, but under the control of the buddhi. Therefore it is a driver and the reins are in his hand also. So here we are talking about essentially the sadhana chatushtaya sampanna, the one who has all the fourfold qualifications required for Vedantic study. What are the fourfold qualifications? He is What are the fourfold qualifications? That is what the topic of in the introduction to in the commentary of the first sutra by Shankara. So essentially, you have Shama, Dhamma, Adi, everything has to be under control, and you have Mumukshutvam, you have Viveka, Vairagya, Shat Sampatti, and Mumukshutvam. Those are the fourfold qualifications. And that is required in order to pursue this. Those are called primary requirements. Now the question is, do I have them or not? Everybody will ask questions, do I have them or not? Number one, if you are attending the classes, you have enough of them to control. So that means you have considered that this is important, which means, because otherwise you won't be sitting here. So the fact that you are interested in Vedantic study itself, that you have some degree of those qualifications required. Now, do I have enough to know the truth? That depends upon whether you need a Shravanam, Mananam, or you need a Nididhyasanam. That means, if I do not have all the four required qualifications, then Shravanam, Mananam, not only those two, I need a Nididhyasanam. So Nididhyasanam requirement depends upon how pure or how qualified you are. If you are Nachiketas, means you have complete Vairagya for whatever he has remembered, the four things, and he is a sharp mind because he could repeat the whole thing of what Yamadharmaraj told about Nachiketa Yajna, and he rejected everything left and right, even though he was given the highest position of all the enjoyments in this life, also in the heavenly enjoyments also he was given. He rejected all that because he knew this is the only one that he wants. That Mumukshutvam is there, he has the Vairagyam, he has the Shraddha, all that are being specified. If you have that, then Shravanam itself is enough. Listening to the scripture, you are that. He says, yes, I am that. Those who are familiar with Nisargadatta Maharaj, I don't know how many people have read. There's a book in Nataraja bookstore, if you can. I Am That, title of the book. He's a Panbedi wala. Shop, he doesn't know English, he doesn't know Shastra, he doesn't know. But somehow he has a faith in the teacher. So someone took him to the teacher, Vedantic teacher, and he was teaching Tatvamasi, and he had enough. If the teacher says, I am that, then I must be that. So that faith itself is sufficient for him to take. It took almost only 3 years for him to realize. So how do you know he realized? How do we give certificate that somebody has realized? We cannot. But the way he answers the questions and the way to the post, you should read that. I Am That. Each one is a meditative chapter where all the people were asking questions, some in English, he doesn't understand, so they were translating into Marathi, and he was answering in Marathi, and they were translating back into English. So that was the mode of operation, and each one is a gem that you can see. So faith in the teaching word, the Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. So that Shraddha can take you. But for that, to have Shraddha, other things have to be required. So if I don't have it, you have that Saptavada Nyayam, 7 Vadas Nyaya. You don't know 7 Vadas. In olden days, they were not selling food that much, So fellows went to Madras, Chennai. 2 friends. He said, what do I eat? Oh, there is a hotels there. They call hotels, it's restaurants. So you can go and get there, whatever you can buy a food there. And so this fellow went along with his friend and says, what do you have? Because they went a little late. By that time, meals, that fellow, the menu is not written in a book. So the fellow tells, good, I give you a list of 100 things what is available there for the guy. So he had vada. So okay, he says, I'm very hungry. Does it fill my stomach? He says, it might. So how much is vada? 1 anna at that time. in olden days. Now it may be 50 rupees, who knows. So 1 anna was it. So that's all? Yes. Okay, bring vada. So each one he got 1 vada each. This fellow ate. Obviously it was not filling his stomach. So bring 1 more vada. So he was bringing vadas. After 7 vadas, he was full. The other guy stopped. His friend stopped with 1 vada only. So when he was going to pay, there was no bill there. This servant shouts, he says 7 annas, or whatever, shouts to the manager. So that was the communication. So, hey, you have to pay. This fellow is only paying 1 anna for each. Hey, you have to pay 7 annas. So, say, why should I pay 7 annas? Because you ate 7 vadas. No, I am hungry. He said, vada. Only 7th vada filled my stomach. Why should I pay for unnecessarily other vadas? See, my friend, he brought the 7th vada first time itself. He could eat. So I should pay only 1 anna. So that was 7th sapta vada nyaya. But when a friend was asked, how come you stopped with 1 vada? He said, I ate 6 vadas at home already. So he didn't need to eat 7th vada. 7th vada is efficacious vada. It's the one which fills the stomach. So if you have eaten 6 vadas in your previous life, previous janma, that means you have prepared already, then 1 vada is enough. Otherwise, you need to eat all the 7 vadas in order to prepare. That is, you need all these requirements that are required for purity of the mind is required. So some people immediately, even Ramana Maharshi, he didn't need that much. Where other people says, if you want, I want to realize like Ramana Maharshi, he said he lied down on the bed and he wants to die. Just like he saw his uncle died and they were putting fire, and he knows that uncle, never anybody touched him. Now they are putting fire and he's not objecting. He says, you want to know what is death? So he lied down, closed all the doors and everything. And he knows that dying people have to lie down somewhere. So he lied down and he wanted to die. And then he realized that as long as he was thinking, he cannot die. So somehow he stopped thinking. Don't ask me how, but somehow. And he experienced, he said, hey, I am dead, but I am still watch myself too. So that's what his knowledge started. He says, that's a very beautiful experience he had. He says, why should I lie down and do it? I can sit down and do the same experience. So he was doing it. And his brother scolded him. He said, you are supposed to study and you are not doing it. So that's how, anyway, Ramana Maharshi's stories. So having read that, somebody wants to experience death, just like Ramana Maharshi. So lie down, close all the windows. So I want to die. Nothing happens. I want to stop thinking. But he cannot stop thinking. After half an hour of struggle, he says, maybe tomorrow I will die. Why? Because of Sapta Vada Nyaya. You need to have previous 6 vadas in order to have. So this is important because the reason I am telling this story is he's going to tell that you have to approach a teacher. So a lot of Ramana Maharshi students says we don't need a teacher. Atma is a teacher. Self itself is a teacher. This kind of teaching, self itself is teacher, then it will be teacher for everybody. Everybody has a self. So nobody learns by self. You need a live teacher to teach. That self is the one that has to be gained. Because self is akartaham, abhoktaham, ahamiva hamavya. I am neither a doer nor an enjoyer. So it cannot teach also. If I can learn from the self, then I am already realized. Silence is a teacher. We cannot learn anything from silence. You go to sleep anyway. So there are a lot of misconceptions about the Vedanta knowledge. So here we are telling about, so Indriyas have to be controlled. Indriya control is called Dhamma in the fourfold qualifications. The mind has to be controlled. That's called Shama. So Shama and Dhamma. The intellect has to be proper, which is essentially it has to have a viveka. The what is real and what is unreal has to have. And besides that, yuktena, the whole the chariot has to be roadworthy. That means everything has to be properly coordinated. That means an orchestra. The orchestra means where every part of it should be synchronized properly to go in the right direction. That's what is called arjavam. As I mentioned, arjavam means a coordinated effort is what is required for the journey. So again he goes to take what happens if you don't have it. Another example. Yastva vijnanavan bhavati svavijnanavan bhavati amanaskaha sada suchihi manaskaha sada suchihi nasa tatpadamapnoti samsaram chadi gacchati together. Yasta vijnanavan bhavati amanaskaha sada suchihi nasatat padamapnoti samsaram chadi gacchati. Yaha tu avijnanavan bhavati. If it's essentially the repetition of fifth sloka comes, where there says whoever has to indeed avijnanavan bhavati, he does not have the viveka, discriminative intellect. Here is not viveka of other, the PhD in so many. Remember we had another with a PhD in 60 arts, but still he was suffering. Yes, samsara. So here we are talking about vijnanam is that knowledge that I can discriminate what is real and what is not real. That kind of knowledge is the real jnanam. Other vijnanam is you become more ignorant only, right? The more you learn, the more ignorant you become. So this is actually the vijnanam. Kasmin navago vijnate sarvamidam vijnatam bhavati. Teach me that knowledge by knowing which I know everything. So that kind of knowledge is what is required. The other knowledge is only you have become only the ignorant only. So amanaskaha, who does not have the mind under proper control, sada asuchihi, is always impure. Impure means the mind is going and the indriyas are going in the wrong direction. Suchi subrata means the mind is always agitated. Here the malam, suchi means the cleanliness, asuchi is disturbed mind. So whenever my mind is perturbed, the mind is agitated, I cannot see the truth clearly. In fact, you cannot, if your mind is agitated, you cannot learn, right? Any subject. So for every subject, any subject, my mind has to be at least calm and quiet during those moments where learning can only take place to that mind which is calm and quiet, or suchihi. And therefore, when the mind is calm and quiet, the intellect can function beautifully. Otherwise, when the mind is perturbed, there cannot be. So, how do I make my mind always worried and this worried and everybody is worried? If you don't worry, who is going to worry about it and all that? Now we have problems. Somebody has to worry about it. If you think you have to worry about it, that means you do not have faith, proper faith. So a lot of bhaktas, they say, if you are worried about it, that means you do not have proper faith in the Lord also. If you have bhakta, a lot of bhaktas are really get agitated. So when you are, it means bhakti means what? I have given this one to him, right? Tana mana dana sab kuch tera hai, yours itself. So once you have given it, then don't take it back. If you take it back, only you have a problem. So once you have given it, patram, pushpam, palam, toyam, whatever you give, it is ready to take. Yat karoshi, yad ashnasi, yad duhoshi, dadasi yadu, yat tapasyasi saunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever you do, offer it to me. Doesn't matter what it is. But when you are offering it to me, make sure it is dharmic action. Because when you are offering to the Lord, it should be at least proper action. So automatically it will become proper. Once you recognize that I am offering to the Lord, automatically, hey, let me be, I don't give a lousy laddu. So, hey, I can't eat it, let me give it to God. I cannot do it. I have to make a best out of whatever I do. That's what implication is. The karma yoga involves doing the best. And that offered, in the process, my mind becomes calm and quiet and purified, unagitated. So here, amanaskara, sada asuchihi, is impurities because of perturbations in the mind. When there is a perturbation in the mind, remember, the jiva is nothing but a reflection of consciousness in the mind. So when there is a perturbation, then the reflection is also not clear. It will be reflecting, but nothing can be seen properly. And nasa tat padam apnoti. So saha tat padam na apnoti. You cannot gain that highest truth, that highest reality, highest goal cannot be gained by that kind of person who has not prepared himself. So what does he get? Samsaram cha adhigacchati. Samsaram is punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam, jatare sayanam, yasamsare bahudustare, kripaya pare, pahimurare. So samsara means punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam. So continuous cycle of births and deaths and so on. And at least this time we have a life of janma of a human being. Next time we don't know in what form we are going to form. So at least in that case, if you form in the place where you do not have intellect, even this part attending Kathopanishad is also not possible. So as human birth is given to us, so Manushyattvam, Amushutvam, Mahapurusha Samsayam, Durlabham Trayame Vaitadu, Daivanugraha Hetukam. So having born as a human being and having the desire to realize and having encountered a Mahatma who can teach us is rare indeed due to the blessing of the Lord or due to my samskara. So that's what happens if you don't have if you are avijñāvān. Since you are not, so we go to the sloka 8. Yastu vijñānavān bhavati sa manaskaha sada suchihi sadu tatpadamapnoti yasmad bhuyo na jayate together. Yastu vijñānavān bhavati samanaskaha sada suchihi sadu tatpadamapnoti yasmad bhuyo na jayate. So it's completely opposite to the previous one. Yaha tu vijñānavān bhavati, the one who has the vijñāna, that means the proper viveka, the discriminative intellect. Sa manaskaha, who has the mind under control. Sada suchihi, always pure, means his thoughts are pure. Pure is what? That which takes me to higher. My mind is not agitated, perturbed. Means there is a perturbation comes when there is a desire, and the desire causes agitations in the mind. Agitations lead to the actions. So when will the mind be suchi? When I do not have the desires. What's a desire? Desire is I'm going to have that. Why? Because that is going to give me happiness. That's why I want anything only because I want that. That brings me happiness. But here, Vijñānavān, who has understood there is no happiness out there. Happiness comes from myself. So there is any reason for me to go after any objects. Therefore, I am self-contented with whatever I have. If it comes, it's okay. If it doesn't come also, it's okay. So that is what is samanaskadaha sada suchihi. A mind which is always contented and which is self-fulfilled. Satu tat padam apnoti. Saha, so indeed, tat padam, that means that highest, the realistic state, padam is a goal, apnoti, he attains. So here, the goal is attained because there is no path, but it is clear understanding, crystal clear understanding takes place. What is a clear understanding? I am not this, but I am pure, I am without any qualifications of this. That is the correct understanding. So, yasmat bhuyo na jayate. Yasmat, from which he na jayate bhuyaha. He will not come back again, born again to this. So what happens to him? He has realized what is the goal. Then what has he realized? He has realized, Aham Brahma Asmi. I am Brahman. So Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. Knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. So what has he become? He has become Brahman. That means he has become infinite. So how can he be infinite? He is still body, mind, intellect. Body, mind and intellect is not him. Because he understood, I am pure Satchidananda Swarupam. Body, mind and intellect is only upadhis that I can use if I want to use it. And I don't need to use it because why do I need body, mind, intellect? All the time is only there for me to get these things to enjoy. But now I am already fulfilled. Therefore, Atmanastu, he is fulfilled in his own self. So, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyeva atmanatushta. He is reveling in himself by himself because self that he revels in, he is complete self and therefore it is Ananda Swarupam. Therefore, there is no reason for him to identify himself that I am the body, mind, intellect. That is a real jnani. Then what is the use of body, mind, intellect? He doesn't have any use in the principle. But now Brahman has a use. Who is the Brahman? He. Now you look at the way the Brahman, because he has become Brahman, the Brahman can use the body, mind, intellect for what sake? For Brahman's sake. What is Brahman's sake? Brahman is total. For the totality, he can use the particular body, mind, intellect for the benefit of the totality. That's what is called Loka Kalyanam. Because Lokam is total. So for the benefit of the total, this particular local equipments are being used, and therefore because the equipments have to go on, because the equipments are formed due to prarabdha karma. The prarabdha karma will be still there, and that will take the body, mind, intellect according to whatever the body, mind, intellect has to go through. It has to go through. If the body, mind, intellect the body has to have a knee problem or this problem or that problem or scheduled problem, it will be coming through because of the prarabdha. But he doesn't have it. Why? He is Brahman. He doesn't have anything because he is total. So that's how he says Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Mahesh. He is essentially a walking God in this world. And what is the purpose of it? It is because that body, mind and intellect are as though maintained by samashti vasanas. Samashti vasana means other people who need a teacher who is in that form and who can teach based on the knowledge of that body, mind, intellect. That body, mind, intellect has gone to particular sadhana. Remember that. It's not the Brahman who went to sadhana. It's the body, mind, intellect has gone through particular sadhana. And those people who are also conducive to that kind of sadhana will approach that teacher to gain that knowledge. You follow now? So not everybody is everybody's teacher. Even though he is a Brahmanista, only those people say, oh, we have to go to Brahma Maharshi. So what do? All you have to do is sit there in front of it and be silent. Who am I? Who am I? Inquire. A lot of people got bored there and got up because they don't know what to do. Only those people who can appreciate that can get that knowledge. Otherwise, they will be just doing who am I? Who am I? And therefore, it is a proper teacher will come to you. So who is my proper teacher? Who is realized? Who is not realized? You don't go and give a litmus test. Say, this man is realized, that man is realized. He is a good teacher, he is not a bad teacher. Who is going to tell? For other people, he is a good teacher. He may not be a good teacher for you. Or he may not be the right teacher for you. So only way to know is go and sample it. So satsangatve nissangatvam. Not to test the teacher. Say, can I gain knowledge from this teacher? If not, just walk out. Other people are there to get knowledge. Then, when you find a proper teacher, you discover he is my teacher. That is, it has to come from your own. Say, I am able to appreciate that, and he is able to help me in that process, and that's what is a teacher. So, the realized soul will be at that state of understanding, but operating the local equipments of body, mind, intellect conducively for those tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya, those who come to him to teach, he has to provide that. And this is the 9th sloka now. This summarizes this chariot example. Vijnana saradhihi yastu jnana saradhihi yastu mana pragrahavan naraha sodhvana paramapnoti tad Vishnu paramam padam together. Vijnana saradhi yastu mana pragrahavan naraha sodhvana paramapnoti tad Vishnu paramam padam. So yaha naraha tu vijnana saradhi manaha pragrahavan saha naraha apnoti. So yaha naraha, that whoever he may be, he who, so Swami Chidananda gives an explanation. Yaha is whoever he may be, he who. That means it doesn't matter what religion he belongs, what caste, what gender, what it is a universal pronoun. So yaha naraha, whoever that sadhak, that seeker, naraha is seeker here, to vijnana saradhi, who has the intelligence to proceed in the direction that he wants, and who is well equipped by proper savana manana, by listening to the scriptures and contemplating on the scriptures properly and having a clear understanding of this truth, what exactly is the truth. So the driver is completely full informed where to go, what the direction to go, and all that he knows. That's what is saradhi. Vijnana saradhi astu manaha, and he has the reins, proper reins under his control. Pragraha vanaraha. Pragraha means also who is under control of horses also. Indriyas are not specified here, but Indriyas, the horses also are under control. The reins are under his control. Is a well informed the driver, and therefore the jiva can proceed in the direction that he wants to go. So advanaha param. Advanaha is path, param is end of that path. Whatever the path that he is taking, he will reach that path. Saha advanaha param apnoti. He gains the realization. Here the path is specified as though, but it is a pathless land, right? There is no path, but it is a path is only from the point of guy who is looking for or wanting for or going to learn something. So there is the procedure for it, but in the end there is no procedure. Remember the 4 miles necklace, 4 miles, right? I had to run, everybody knows, right? I had to run 4 miles to discover that I don't have to run 4 miles. But I had to run 4 miles in order to discover that the necklace that I was looking for is already I have. So I had to do all the sadhanas to recognize that I don't need any sadhana. For that I had to do sadhana. I had to prepare my mind, because it is nothing to do of any of this. It's beyond the mind. It's beyond the agitations of the mind. This mind can agitate it, but I am Satchidananda Swarupam. So I am Ahamanna. I can keep on, because this is nothing to do with any of this. So you can be dancing anywhere, any agitated, doesn't matter. But to recognize that, I need a mind which is calm and quiet for me to recognize. So this is the catch-22 situation. I need that to recognize that I don't need that anymore. But that is advanaha param apnoti. I reach that state or that goal that I am set for, that which is specified by the scripture also. That is what is the Tattvamasi statement, or Aham Brahmasmi statement, or Mahavakya Vichara statement. That is the goal, that is, and that is Tad Vishnoho Paramam Padam. That Paramam Padam, that supreme goal, means supreme means there is nothing beyond after that. After I reach there, what else I have to do? nothing else. Because if you go to, what is the Pondicherry Swami? Pondicherry. They have, the French lady, mother also. But anyway, he thinks that there is one realization, there is another supreme realization also. There's two levels, but there is nothing here. Here Vedanta is very clear. It says, Paramam Padam. Paramam Padam apnoti. One gains that. And that is that Padam where there is no return back. Right? Yad gatva nivartante tadhama paramam mama. That is a Krishna statement where having gone there is no returning back, because what is that param? Is clear understanding of who am I, what is this world, and what's my relation to the world itself. So once I understood there is no return back, means there cannot be any ignorance again, taking myself, I am not as I am. So therefore it is that paramam padam. But if I have going to Vaikuntha or somewhere, because Vishnu is coming here, if I have going to Vaikuntha also, this according to our Vedantic Advaita Vedanta, if you have, there is a beginning for moksha, then there has to be end. Because any beginning has to have an end. So the moksha cannot have any beginning. That's what the Mandukya Karika Gaudapada says also. Therefore, the moksha is I am Nitya Mukta Swarupoham Aham. What should I understand? And not that I am getting liberated now. I was liberated. I was ever liberated. But unfortunately, I thought that I am not liberated and I will be struggling hard. That's all it is. The understanding will be. So it is not that I am going to be liberated at some place or I have to go somewhere to Vaikuntha, because that Paramam Padam, that supreme goal is clear understanding that I was never a samsari also. Because akartaham abhoktam, I was never a doer. Therefore, all this papa, punya, sadhana, doesn't belong to me. It is ontologically a different level. I was gold, I am gold, I shall be gold. Only rings and bangles and necklaces are having a date of birth and date of death. Only those are names and forms. But then how do my vision of the rings and bangles, once I realize that I am a gold, rings and bangles are Pasyami Yoga Vaishwaram. Oh Arjuna, look at my glory. They are all in me, but actually none of them are in me. Atadamidam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina mastani sarva bhutani. They are all in me, but Achamastani Bhutani, none of them are me. Gold can say, all ornaments are in me. But actually, it's no ornament. I am pure gold. There are no ornaments. Ornaments, you call it this form of me, the ring, that form of me on the ring. That's your problem. No. I am just pure gold. And that is what is Paramam Padam. Tad Vishnoho, that which is called Vishnoho. So why is Vishnu? Vishnu is Vyapakatvat Vishnu. Vishnu is not a form. Here is the one who is all-pervading is called Vishnu. That's why Vishwam, Vishnu, Vashatkaro. So Vishwam, the world, is also him. Vishnu, the one pervades the whole universe, is also him. So that which is pervasiveness is what is Vishnu, Vyapakaha. And that is Paramam Padam. That means I realize that I am Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. So with that, the chariot example is over. It's one of the beautiful examples of Kathopanishad. And people come say that the Bhagavad Gita also is taken from that, where you see Krishna and Arjuna and the 5 horses, and picturized is as though the Kathopanishad is exemplified in the form, and the teaching, of course, goes on in the as a story and all that is. So with that, we complete the chariot example. So in the 10 and 11 slokas, he is going to come back to the Jnana Marga and Jnanam, nature of the knowledge, and so therefore the Yamadharmaraja is going to tell us, where we have to use in order to gain that knowledge, what should we do? It's called Panchakosha Viveka is going to be done. We have to use the discriminative understanding to differentiate the two aspects of it. What is the two aspects? Where I have adhyasa, error of superimposition in all this. And I have to separate that which is permanent and that is not permanent, because they are coming together all the time. Just as I said, I cannot see the light that is all-pervading unless there is an object there, right? Just as the sunlight is all over there on the Purnima day, if you look at the sky, the moon is shining, but the sunlight is there all over. Even outside the moon also sunlight is there, but I cannot see. So, looking at the moon, I need the moon to recognize the presence of sunlight there. But looking at the moon, I have to shift my attention to the sunlight, not the moonlight. Through the moonlight, I have to recognize the sunlight. Follow the now. That means I need the moon first. Just as the moon is related to, remember, lunatics. Moon is related to the mind. So, I need the mind to recognize that which shines in the mind, or because of which mind is becoming a conscious entity, is due to the all-pervading consciousness getting reflected there. Without the reflection, I cannot recognize the all-pervading consciousness. So, claiming that I am I am the mind. No, I am not the mind, but I am using the mind to go beyond the mind, not beyond the mind, not to sleep. I am using the mind to recognize that which is not the mind, but which is making the mind active. You follow now what the meditation is? Meditation is not absence of thoughts, because people say if you absence, you go to sleep. Thought raises in the mind. And that is the consciousness that is falling on the mind, getting reflected by the mind, falls on the thought, getting reflected back to the mind, and that's the knowledge of the thought. All that is now follow. Sunlight falling on, not sunlight, the consciousness falling on the mind, getting reflected, and reflected light falls on the thought, and further reflected back onto the mind, and that is the knowledge of the thought. And therefore, in every thought, instead of paying attention to the contents of the thought, I have to pay that light of consciousness, because of which I am conscious of the thought and I am conscious of the mind also. Where this is occur? In the mind only. Because pure consciousness doesn't have any confusion. All Satchidananda Atma has no ajnanam. Ajnanam is only local level. So all this, that's why the complication is, it says, I am this is the ego, ahankara, right? Ahankara is I am this, I am that, I am this. So when I identify myself, I am this, means I am identifying myself with the local body, mind and intellect. Therefore, I am not that. When I say I am this, it excludes all other that which is not this. So in the process of exclusion, I am crystallizing my ego. That's what my biodata is. I am this, and all that. And I want to expand this by acquiring more this. So that's what the ego process is. And so the more this, more I am. That's what our understanding is. But in I am this or together as one, I have to separate these two, and that's where is the subtlest intellect is required. Where I have to separate I am from this, because I am not this, I am a pure existent consciousness. This is coming and going, but I am not coming and going. Thoughts are coming and going, but I am there, aware of all the thoughts. Though I am the awareness where I know this, I know this, I know this, but I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. Follow? That's where the subtlest point is. That's where the difficult part is. But abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha gruhyate. I have to start abhyasa, practice, and give up my attachments to this. This means contents of the thought process. So here He is going to tell us the Panchakosha Viveka, essentially, from Indriyas all the way to, a little bit funny for us also, a little bit. Let's see, Sloka 10. And he is going to tell the hierarchy of the system here. Just as we have BMI hierarchy there, this is what is being described here. Indriyobhya parahyartha, Indriyobhya parahyartha, artebhyascha param manaha, artebhyascha param manaha, manasastu para buddhihi, manasastu para buddhihi, buddhiratma mahan paraha, buddhiratma mahan paraha. Together, indriyobhyah parahyartha, arthebhyascha param manaha, manasastu para buddhihi, buddhiratma mahan paraha. So, indriyobhyah parahyartha. The first line is a little bit funny for us, but here we'll see how it means. Indriyobhyah parahyartha. So, artha is essentially the objects, sense objects, and indriyobhyah, the senses, and they have sense objects, right? We have the horses and the lanes in which they are going. That's what is in the example of that chariot. So there are sense objects that we know, and they be our five senses. And the statement here, the scriptural statement is indriyobhyaha parahyartha. The sense objects are superior to the senses. We think the other way around, but here the statement is not thing. And Swami Chinmayananda has written an exhaustive commentary on that. And he had the same problem apparently, understanding how can that be. So he went to his teacher to explain that, to get an explanation. So he asked his teacher, and his teacher explained, and he has written it. So we have no answer also. But scripture provides this. Now, how can that be? The sense objects are superior to senses. So this is my understanding now. So you take it with a grain of salt. The way it says is, I am fascinated by the sense objects because I see the way I want to see also. The way it appears is, when I say something of interesting to me I want to see, even though it is the same thing, other people are not that much interested for the same, but I am fascinated by this, either the beauty or whatever that is, and I have a notion of the beauty of that object, even though the object may not be there, because other people may not see that beauty. But I am getting carried away with this because of my object as I perceive is different from my just sense input itself. So the value for it to that object that I give is different from the value the other person gives for the same object because of my own inclinations. So if you look at it, we see the word, everybody sees the word. But everybody is fascinated by their indriya objects, which are not really what it is, but what they think it is. I don't know if you think about it. So essentially, all our fascinations and the dreams and all that is what I project that object to be, even though that's not the real object. Object is just what it is. But I projected a value to that object based on my perception of the object. So my perception is only not taking the object as it is, but the object as I want it to be, or what I feel it to be, or what I imagine to be. And therefore, they are superior to my just senses operating in that sense. So if I do that, in that case, indriyobhyaha parahyartha. If you want, you can have your own explanation for it. How? Because this is a scriptural statement. So scriptural statement has to be taken as that's what essentially what the implication is. Okay. Arthebhyascha param manaha. So superior to the sense objects is the mind that integrates all the sense input and have the likes and dislikes on top superimposed by the mind. Therefore, it is higher in that sense. So this is somewhat similar to the Annamaya Kosha, Varnamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and Anandamaya Kosha. In the Taittiriya Upanishad we went through. At each kosha we identify that is the highest. Then we go to the next one and discard this pravilapa. We discard that is not, and we go to next level. In the same way, here the statements are being provided. Says that is higher. So higher means what? Arthebhyascha param manaha. You give importance to the mind than to the sense objects. So mind has to be pure, mind has to be controlled, and mind is the highest compared to the sense enjoyment that I am doing it. So mind should not be disturbed. And my attachment to the objects makes the mind disturbed, right? That's what is artha also. Attachments to the objects. Arthebhyascha param manaha. Manasastu para buddhihi. So in that, the mind and then the intellect. Intellect is superior to the mind. So in the hierarchy, the buddhi, intellect comes first, and then the mind, and then the sense object, the body. The body, sense objects are in that. So that is how it goes. Intellect, mind, and the body, where the senses are located. Manasastu para buddhi. Buddhir atma mahan paraha. So higher than the buddhi is Mahan Atma. Mahan Atma here, the Mahan Atma is the Hiranyagarbha. We are talking about Brahmaji. So my mind, a local mind, we are thinking about the local mind and the global mind. And the global mind is higher than the local mind. So imagine yourself, you are dreaming. Okay, and you are dreaming. Who is dreaming? A person who is sitting in the air-conditioned room. He, after heavy dinner, he lie down and then he goes into dream. And the dream world is projected in the who is dreaming? Projected by the waker's mind. The mind who was awake before is the one who is sleeping now. That mind is projecting the whole dream world. Right? So who is the creator? Because this is the same question. Who is the creator? Consciousness identifying with the mind that is going to sleep is the project. So now you know hierarchy. Pure consciousness that I am, identifying with the mind, which is a waking mind, let's call it a waking mind, is the one who is sleeping now, and that mind is the creator, because the values are the oppressions and suppressions in that mind are the ones that are projected. That's vasanas. So vasanas provide a vehicle for mind to project this type of world, not the other type of world. Right? Depending upon what type of vasanas. You follow that hierarchy now? Now that mind, when it projects the whole universe in the dream. There you have characharam, savaram, jangamam, yaptam, remember all the slokas? Say there are movable, immovable. There are people and there are forests, there are lands and everything. So you have whole world, Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha, Prithvi, all those things are created in the dream. Right? Panchabhutas are created and everything is created, Jivas are created, other people also there in your. And also you create yourself there as one entity separate from the rest of the world. Who is that same mind? Waking mind creates another, as though enters into one equipment, so pravesham, enters into one local guy, separate from the rest of the universe there, and looking at this, and now looking at that individual mind, apply this now. So, if you apply this now, you will see there is a global mind for him. He is a local mind because his mind is different from other guys who are also in the dream. Their minds are different. They are criticizing me left and right. Some are praising me, some are criticizing me, some are abusing me, some are kicking me left and right. If there is a tiger, he has his own mind to make aharam out of me. So each mind is different there, individual minds. But at the same time, all these minds and the bodies and the world is pervaded by one global mind, which is the waking mind, which is the waker's mind. Follow? In all through this, there is a consciousness pervading through, supporting the whole thing, which has nothing to do with any of this. At the same time, it's lending the support. Now apply indriyobhyah para yartha artebhyascha param manaha manasastu para buddhi buddhiratma mahan paraha. So if the local mind is asking the question, says what is the hierarchy here? This hierarchy is in this order, where the mind, local mind of that jiva in that dream, his buddhi is superior to his, but more than his buddhi, then there is a bigger buddhi which is pervading the whole universe, that is bigger than him, param. And that same way, if you apply the same model to the waking world also, there is a Brahmaji. Remember, he is creating all this. He's talking about how does he create? Total mind of all people together becomes his mind, subtle body, and that is Mahan, Buddhi, Atma, Mahan Paraha. That is the Hiranyagarbha. If you want to, in the Mandukya, and this is, we analyze these three for every state. We have three micro and the macro, and this becomes the macro in the dream creation. So this is exactly identical. That Mahan Paraha is Mahan Atma. That is the Hiranyagarbha is talked about. Why? Because he is going to tell there is superior to Mahan Atma also. So why we need it? We have to think which is the higher order, and that should be controlling the whole lower order. So in the big officer is there, and below that there is a main clerk, and below that all other clerks are there. Now, if that is office has to run smoothly, who has to make rules and regulations? A lot of secretaries make rules and regulations here, but the officer in charge has to make rules and regulations, and everybody has to follow that, right? There is a hierarchy, In every organization, one director or somebody, then different branches, and each branch is sub-branches and all that. It's so mushrooming like Urdhva Moolam Adashakam Ashwastam Prahuravyayam. So Moolam, the roots are above, and everything is spreading around all over. That's the hierarchy of the system, to understand. And the same system is going on here in this. So we have now understood there is a Mahat, which is total Hiranyagarbha mind is there. So 11 sloka. Mahata paramavyaktam, Mahata paramavyaktam, avyaktat purusha paraha, avyakta purusha paraha, purushan naparam kinchitu, purushan naparam kinchitu, sa kashta sa paragatihi, kashta sa paragatihi. Together, mahata paramavyaktam, avyaktat purusha paraha, purushan naparam kinchitu, sa kashta sa paragatihi. So, Mahata Param Avyaktam. Avyaktam is unmanifested. So, how does he operate? Brahmaji operates at what level? When Brahmaji is going to create, he has to create according to some rules and regulations dictated by something else. And that is Avyaktam. That means total vasana of all people together forms the basis for creation. Brahmaji cannot create randomly anything he wants. It is because of the total vasana of all jivas put together. So when did they have the giyas? In the previous creation. They have all that which went back into him in the subtle form, and that's the one that forms the main total vasanas. That is a providing for the basis for the next creation. So what is the first one? Because previous to previous or previous, there is no first one, because this is Anadi. So each Brahmaji will live only for 100 years also. He also lives 100 years. But his 100 years is very difficult because whenever he goes to sleep, the whole yugas are gone. So remember, this is all discussed in the 8th chapter of Gita. Okay? So his days and his life also ends and another Brahmaji will come. So we have models of models all there, all the way. So how long this will go on? Because it is, when all jivas, everybody realizes, then there won't be any vasanas left for him to create. There won't be any. The things that will never happen, then it goes on endlessly. So, mahatah paramam vyaktam, avyaktat purushah param, paraha. So, beyond the man manifest is what is there? Is the purushaha. Is the pure consciousness. Purusham prakritim chayoyam. So, this in the 13th chapter you get the description of Purusha also. So, this Purusha is what? Is the pure consciousness, Satchidananda Swarupam, Paraha, Avyakta. It is superior to that. Purushat na param kinchitu. Purushat, so higher than the Purusha, na param kinchitu, there is nothing beyond. He is there. Buck stops there. That is the pure Satchidananda Swarupam, is the highest. Sa kashta sa paragatihi. So sa kashta, that supreme sa paragatihi, is the supreme goal for everyone. That kashta, that is, this is highest, is sa paragatihi. That is the supreme goal. That highest one, that Purusha, is the highest goal for everybody, because there is nothing beyond. Because Purusha na param kinchitu, there is nothing that is beyond this Purusha. So, so Purusha, Prakriti are two sides. One is the Ishvara and the Maya. One is the Lakshmi and Vishnu, or whatever, or Ardhangi, whatever in the Shiva case it is. Is a two of one, right? Ardhanarishwara. So one is a Purusha, another is a Prakriti. They always go together as it is, because whenever we are talking about a creation, you need the most intelligent cause and the material cause involved in our this one. So they are always together. But that which is highest when talk about pure consciousness, then there is nothing beyond of that, and that is essentially. So once the creation is there, because as long as we are in this creation, we have always these two occurring, Purusha, Prakriti, Purusha, Prakriti. And we have to filter out the Prakriti and look at the Purusha. That separation has to be done by a subtle intellect, by using a discriminative intellect. And say, I want to know without any of this. There is no way you can know. You can be that, but you cannot know that. Right? Understanding is being that, but knowing involves a process of knowing, where I have to differentiate from what I know, that which is the pure knowledge, that which is the consciousness, from that object that are really. So this Neti Vakya has to be there, understood properly. Okay, Slokata. Yesha sarveshu bhuteshu gudotmana prakashate drishyate tvagrahyaya buddhya Sushmaya Sushmadarshibhi together. Yesha sarveshu bhuteshu gudotmana prakashate drishyate tvagrahyaya buddhya Sushmaya Sushmadarshibhi. Yesha, this sarveshu bhuteshu, in all beings, Gudaha is hidden. So why should I look at this Paramatma or Sumatma or Brahman? All these hierarchies are given. Where is that Purusha? I want to catch hold of him. If you say, he is hidden now. You cannot see. But I mean, he is hiding. Right? Atma na prakashate. It cannot be immediately revealed that this is Atma, you cannot say. That's essentially does not directly evident to you. Why? Because it is very subtle. Drishyate tu agraya buddhya sushmaya sushmadarshibhi. So even though it is hidden, yet it is prakash, it is cannot be seen as though this is consciousness, you cannot say. This is, people or scientists are trying to find out what is consciousness. So the very process of inquiring what is consciousness will make you away from consciousness. So this has to be understood. I want to know Brahman. You cannot know Brahman. Period. Why? Because you are already objectifying Brahman as something that you want to know. And this is the biggest hurdle for a seeker. I want to realize, okay? I want to realize something. That is what the problem is. Because whenever I say I have not realized, I'm trying to look for something to realize, and the very looking means I am objectifying what I want to realize, and the very objectification makes it godham, is hidden, makes it hidden. Because I am the one who is trying to realize I am already there. So the problem is, when I say I am not realized, what is that I am not realized? I am there or not? I am looking for myself. I want to see myself. I want to know myself. Say, you are that self. So I need to re-educate the mind, because the very longing for, looking for myself is a notion that I am not there where I am there. The seeker doesn't recognize himself. So you remember the 10th man story? 10th man is looking for the missing 10th man all over the place. He cannot find him. And he say, you are the missing 10th man. A teacher has to tell. And he say, how can I be 10th man? Why should I be looking for? He says, that's exactly the problem. You count everybody 9 and you are the only 10th man left. So you count everything. It's not that only left is, you can eliminate everybody as not the 10th man. That's called neti neti neti. You are eliminating everybody is not the 10th man. And the only thing left is, I am that one that I am seeking for. The seeker himself is this sort. And therefore, that need to be understood clearly. And drishyate means here that one can see or one can understand, which with agraya, with a sharp intellect, sharp and also subtle intellect. You need a both here. Sharp intellect to discriminate what is not, and then to differentiate from what it is, that which is subtle, because both are together all the time. I am seeing the thought and I am seeing the light getting reflected from the thought. And how do I separate the thought and the light? Just as you are looking at my hand, you have to not see the hand and only the light. How do you do it? That's where the subtle is. So I had to see in and through every experience. I had to recognize my presence there. So how can I be present in that experience? It is different from me. That's where the problem is. And therefore, Sushmaya, Sushmadarshibhihi, by subtle intellect, which is the subtler than the subtlest, has to be recognized. And that's why you need Vedantic Stravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Contemplating on that is to be required. So with that, we stop here and we will do the Purnamada Purnamidam. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Let's do